The moment my husband stood up at our daughter's graduation and cleared his throat, I felt something inside my chest tighten. He had been distant all week, colder than usual, but I thought it was just nerves for our daughter. Parents filled the auditorium around us, clapping, cheering, and celebrating. Cameras flashed, everyone smiling, everyone proud, except him. And then he spoke the words that silenced the entire row around us like a gunshot. "I'm leaving you," just like that. In a room full of families and joy, he announced my marriage was dead. People gasped. A mother turned around with wide eyes. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." He kept talking, his voice smug and loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, as if he wanted witnesses. But his victory ended the moment I did the thing that made him start screaming in front of everyone. The moment his perfect performance cracked, and karma finally turned around to face him. Hit the like if you believe karma never misses. My name is Elaine. I'm 43. I work as a program coordinator at a community clinic, nothing glamorous, but it's meaningful. I have spent most of my life supporting other people, stitching things back together, making sure everyone around me had what they needed. My husband, Mark, was always the ambitious one, the important one, the charming one. That is what he reminded me of constantly. I used to think we were partners. I used to think we were building a life side by side. Now I can admit something I never dared say out loud. Mark always saw me as the supporting cast to his spotlight. I just didn't want to believe it. Our daughter, Julia, is the only reason I stayed as long as I did. She's everything he isn't. Kind, humble, brilliant. And she earned her place in the top 5% of her class all on her own. Graduation day was supposed to be hers, her moment. But Mark never cared about moments unless he was the star. For months, the tension between us had been growing. Mark stayed later at work, hid his phone, started treating me like I was a burden. He made snide comments in front of Julia. Called me forgetful, scatterbrained, sensitive. It was a small, quiet cruelty. The kind that erodes you from the inside while everyone else still thinks you're lucky to have such a successful husband. He was always careful about how he behaved around others. He only cut me when no one else was watching. I told myself I was imagining things, that the late nights were just stress, that the sudden gym obsession was healthcare. My stomach dropped, but then my daughter's name was called, and in that brief moment, pride took over me. She walked across the stage beaming, and I clapped until my palms stung. Parents all around us cheered. Cameras clicked. It was perfect for exactly 6 seconds. Until Mark stood up and said loudly, "Before she comes back down here, I want to say something." I froze. People turned. He lifted his chin, looking strangely satisfied. "I'm leaving you, Elaine. After today, I'm done. I'm moving out tonight." I couldn't breathe. For a second, I thought I misheard him. The parents around us stared. A mom covered her mouth. A father murmured, "Is he serious?" Someone laughed awkwardly like maybe it was a joke, but he wasn't done humiliating me. "And before you start crying or making a scene," he continued, "let me make it clear that I've wasted enough years with you. I'm finally choosing happiness, so don't embarrass yourself." My ears rang. My body felt weightless. Julia was walking down the aisle toward us, smiling proudly, unaware her father was detonating a bomb in the middle of her milestone. I whispered, "Mark, please stop." He smirked. "What? You thought this was going to be a big, happy family moment?" His voice was loud enough for the row behind us. "You should be grateful I waited until after she got her diploma." People were stunned, whispering, staring, watching me crumble in real time. He sat back down as if nothing happened and said with a shrug, "Try not to ruin her photos with your puffy eyes." I bit the inside of my cheek hard enough to taste blood. That was the moment something inside me cracked, not shattered, hardened. And I knew with absolute clarity that this man was about to lose everything he took for granted. But the moment he started screaming, the moment he realized I wasn't the helpless woman he thought he could discard, that was still to come. Julia reached us, glowing, happy, until she saw my face. "Mom? What happened?" Mark chimed in casually. I just told your mother I'm leaving her, it's overdue. Now smile so we can take pictures. Julia blinked like she couldn't process it. Dad, what? Why here? Because I'm done pretending, he said. And everyone here might as well know it. He was enjoying this, relishing the attention, performing. I felt humiliation crawling up my throat like fire. Parents were watching. Students overheard. A teacher next to us frowned. Someone took out their phone, probably recording. I swallowed and tried to hold myself together. My daughter's face fell into heartbreak. She whispered, "How could you do this now?" He shrugged. "It's my life. I deserve better." Better, meaning younger, easier, more impressed by his job title. I didn't speak. Not yet. The ceremony ended and people began flooding out. Several parents threw me sympathetic looks. One whispered, "I'm so sorry, sweetie." Another glared at Mark like he was a monster. But Mark loved the attention. He puffed his chest, acting like he'd won something. Julia refused to walk with him. She stuck by my side, crying and furious, while her father strutted ahead like he was liberated. When we reached the parking lot, he cleared his throat dramatically again. "I'm going to pack my things tonight. You better not be difficult about it. I'm taking the Tesla. You and Julia can figure out the rest." I said nothing. But something inside me clicked into place. Then he added, "And just so you know, I'm not paying for your ridiculous continuing education classes anymore. You can handle your own future," Julia snapped. "Dad, you are unbelievable," he scoffed. "You'll understand when you're older." "No," she said, staring at him with betrayal. "I won't." He brushed her off. Then he turned to me with a final smirk. "I already transferred the money out of the joint account. You don't deserve any of it." That was the final insult. And that was the moment I stopped being the victim. He walked away feeling triumphant. He had no idea that everything he built was sitting on secrets. Secrets I had evidence of. Secrets that were about to ruin him. For years I never fought back. I let him belittle me, dismiss me, treat me like background noise. But suddenly my vision sharpened. I remembered every suspicious text, every whispered phone call, every late night, every bank withdrawal, every lie. He thought he was free. He thought humiliation was something I would accept quietly. He thought he hurt me. He hadn't seen hurt yet. When I got home, I went straight to my closet and pulled out a locked folder. A folder I prayed I'd never need. Inside were printed copies of messages, receipts, emails, and transfer confirmations. Proof of exactly what Mark had been doing behind my back. Proof of what he had been stealing. Proof of what laws he had broken. He thought I was stupid. He thought I never noticed. He thought my silence was ignorance. But my silence had been strategy. The first thing I discovered months ago was the affair. The woman was barely 30 and worked at his office. But that wasn't the part that mattered. What mattered was that he used company funds for her hotel stays, his corporate card, his office budget, money that wasn't his. Embezzlement. And I had every receipt. The second thing I discovered was that he opened a secret account and transferred marital funds into it. Thousands. Quietly, over 2 years. Financial fraud in a marriage is still fraud. I printed everything, every detail, every timestamp. Mark forgot that I worked with documentation every day. I noticed patterns, I noticed inconsistencies. He underestimated me because he always had. Now it was time to let karma do what it does best. I called my lawyer, not a divorce lawyer, a white-collar crime attorney, someone who knew exactly how to handle men who thought they were untouchable. She said, "Elaine, your husband is in deep trouble." I said, "I know. I'm done protecting him." She asked if I was ready. I said, "More than ready." We began everything quietly, while Mark packed his things arrogantly, tossing clothes into bags and humming like he had won some grand prize. I made tea in the kitchen. Calm, composed, watching him like someone observing an animal too stupid to see the cliff in front of it. He tried to provoke me. "You know, you really let yourself go." Maybe that's why this marriage failed. I sipped my tea. He sneered. "Nothing to say? Pathetic." Still, I said nothing. His ego swelled. Men like him mistake silence for weakness. He had no idea silence was the sound of his empire collapsing. Before we continue, tell me in the comment section where you're watching from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you're enjoying this, hit that like button and subscribe. I drop new stories every day. Now, let's get back into it. The next morning, my lawyer filed a formal report with his company's internal audit division. Every fraudulent charge, every misuse of funds, every hotel room with the other woman's name listed as guest. We also filed a marital fraud complaint which froze the secret account immediately. I didn't tell Mark. He found out 2 days later when HR called him into an emergency meeting. I was sitting on the couch when he stormed in, red-faced. "What did you do?" I folded a blanket neatly. "What do you mean?" he shouted louder. "Don't play dumb. My corporate card is frozen. They said there's an investigation." "An investigation? Sounds serious." He pointed at me, shaking. "You did this." I smiled gently. "How could I? You said I wasn't smart enough to handle anything important." His face twisted. "This isn't funny, Elaine. I could lose my job." I tilted my head. "You told everyone at graduation that you deserve better. Maybe this is the universe helping you start fresh." He punched the wall. "This is not over," I whispered. "Oh yes, it is." The affair became public within the company the moment HR questioned the junior employee. She cracked immediately. Texts spread. Screenshots circulated privately among staff. Colleagues who once admired Mark suddenly avoided him. His boss stopped greeting him in the hallway. Meetings were canceled. His team went silent. His reputation evaporated in a week. Julia refused to speak to him. Our friends were horrified. Some of them called me crying, saying they had no idea. Others severed ties with him entirely. He tried to control the narrative. "She's lying. She set me up. She's bitter." No one believed him. Because the evidence didn't lie. Wave 4 of revenge. Ultimate downfall. The company terminated him. Not quietly, not gently. They escorted him out with a security guard. Someone filmed it. Someone posted it anonymously. Word spread fast. Then came the legal consequences. Fraud charges, financial penalties, a restraining order against transferring assets, a court date. His new girlfriend dumped him immediately, terrified to be attached to a scandal. His secret account was seized and allocated temporarily to marital property until the divorce proceedings. He lost his job, his money, his mistress, his fake image, his dignity, and all control. And then came the moment that shattered him completely. The confrontation. He came to the house screaming on the lawn, "Elaine, come outside, now!" Neighbors peeked through blinds. Someone across the street filmed. I stepped out calmly, arms crossed, not afraid anymore. Mark shouted, "You ruined my life." I answered softly, "No. You ruined your life. I just stopped covering for you." He shook his head violently. "You can't do this. You can't take everything from me." I walked down one step. "You took everything from me for years. My peace, my security, my confidence, my daughter's stability. You humiliated me on the most important day of her life. You dragged me through public embarrassment for your ego. You stole money from our marriage. You cheated. You lied. And you thought you could walk away untouched." He snarled. "I didn't think you had the guts." Exactly. He opened his mouth to shout again, but before he could, the police pulled up. "Are you Mark Hensley?" He blinked. "Yes, you are under arrest for corporate embezzlement pending investigation. Please place your hands behind your back." He screamed my name. "Elaine, did you do this?" I didn't flinch. "No, Mark, you did this." They cuffed him. He screamed until the door shut. That was the moment he finally understood. He never had power over me. He only ever had the illusion of it. The fall of the antagonist was poetic justice. He lost everything he cared about. His status, his money, his reputation, his control. His ability to manipulate, his family's respect, his daughter's admiration. Every person who once praised him now whispered in disgust. He went from admired to despised in a month. And me? For the first time in years, I breathed. Full circle transformation began the day I signed the divorce papers with steady hands. I got a promotion at work after my director saw how organized, composed, and capable I was through the legal storm. I began taking evening classes again, the ones he mocked. I started feeling more like a person and less like a shadow. Julia healed too. She told me one night, "Mom, you're the strongest woman I know." I cried harder at that than anything Mark had ever done. I didn't rise because of revenge. I rose because I stopped letting someone else bury me. Mark became irrelevant, a cautionary tale, a man who thought betrayal was strength and learned too late that karma doesn't need permission to strike. Sometimes the universe waits for you to take the first step before it delivers the rest of the karma. If this story reminded you that the best revenge is rising higher than the people who tried to break you, hit that like button and subscribe. And tell me where you're watching from. These stories travel farther than the lies people tell.